There are people who, at the great turning points of history, find themselves in the right place with the right decision. Not because they are smarter, not because they are luckier, because at that precise moment, their nervous system was operating in creation mode, not survival mode. April 2026 is one of those moments. The planet Uranus completes an 84-year orbital cycle. This is not astrology. This is orbital mechanics. The last time this cycle completed was 1942, the exact moment the world's entire economic architecture was being rewritten. The cycle before that, 1858, the beginning of the Second Industrial Revolution. We are at the third inflection point. March was the diagnostic phase. April is the rewrite. You still have time to prepare, not by acquiring more information, not by making more plans, but by preparing the one instrument that determines how you receive, process, and act in a moment of massive systemic change. Your body, specifically your nervous system, and the biological systems that govern whether you operate from creation or from fear, from expansion or from depletion, from presence or from noise. In the next 40 minutes, I will give you the science, the history, and 3 precise protocols that the most sophisticated traditions in human history used to prepare the body for exactly this kind of threshold. Stay with me. What follows changes the conversation entirely. The ancient Egyptians called it Sekhem, the living force that flows through the body when nothing blocks it. When it flows freely, the body heals, the mind creates, resources arrive as if drawn by an invisible current. When it is blocked, the body ages, the mind loops. And no matter how hard you work, how much you desire, how perfectly you plan, the frequency of abundance cannot reach you because you cannot receive a signal your system is not tuned to carry. This is not metaphor. This is biology. Your body is a liquid crystal antenna, 75% water, organized in molecular structures that store, transmit, and receive information exactly like a crystal, exactly like an antenna. When this antenna is coherent, organized, flowing, alive, it resonates with frequencies of creation, expansion, abundance. When this antenna is jammed, compressed, rigid, carrying the sediment of chronic stress and ancestral trauma, it resonates with the frequency of survival, of scarcity, of disease. The jamming is located in a specific place in your body. It has a specific biological mechanism, and it can be cleared. In moments of massive systemic shift, the bodies that are coherent, flowing, tuned, receive the new signal first. They adapt fastest. They create from the new frequency while others are still receiving static from the old one. Your body is either ready for this transmission or it is not. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to prepare it. I need to tell you about the most powerful force in the human body, the force that builds entire human beings from 2 cells. Think about what happens at conception. 2 microscopic points of biological matter, and from those 2 points, over 9 months, a complete human architecture assembles itself. 270 bones, 100 billion neural connections, 100,000 kilometers of blood vessels from 2 cells. What is the force that does this? It is the same force that physiologists call sexual energy. And what the greatest alchemical traditions, independently, across cultures, across millennia, recognized as something far more fundamental than reproduction. They called it Prima Materia, the primary substance.
the raw creative force of the universe localized within the human body. The Taoist masters called it Jing, the primordial life essence, the most refined and powerful substance the body produces, more valuable than anything external.
And every great tradition arrived at the same understanding simultaneously. This force is not designed primarily for reproduction. It is designed for transmutation, for the transformation of lead into gold. And this is not a metaphor for chemistry. It is a precise metaphor for the body. Lead, heavy, rigid, diseased, blocked tissue. Gold, luminous, coherent, regenerating, alive. Now, here is what they understood that has been deliberately obscured in modern culture. This force can be used in 3 ways. The first, dissipation. The energy is expelled through compulsive sexual release, through chronic overstimulation, through the constant low-grade drain of digital consumption. The energy is never allowed to build. Creative capacity, minimal. Manifestation capacity, nearly 0. The second, suppression. The energy is not expelled, but it is also not directed. It is locked, compressed, sealed. This is the pattern the alchemists called the sealed cauldron. The fire is there, enormous, powerful, ancient, but the lid is closed. And sealed creative force has nowhere to go but sideways, into anxiety, into chronic tension, into disease. And the third, the path the initiates trained for, is transmutation. The energy is preserved, cultivated, and then consciously directed upward through the body's central channel, the pathway the Hermetic tradition called the caduceus, the twin serpents rising along the staff, which maps precisely onto the human spine and its energetic centers. When this upward channel is open, the creative force reaches the brain, the pineal gland, the frontal cortex. The brain enters states of expanded coherence. Think of coherence like the difference between a regular light bulb and a laser. A light bulb scatters its light in every direction, weak, diffuse, unfocused. A laser is the same light, organized into one perfectly aligned beam, and it can cut through steel. Coherence is when your cells stop scattering their energy in every direction and begin operating as one powerful, unified system. The ancient traditions describe this as the activation of the gland of genius. Modern neuroscience describes it as a measurable shift in brainwave patterns, from beta, the state of chronic stress, to alpha and theta, the states of creative insight, intuition, and flow. Same phenomenon, different vocabulary. Now let me tell you what is blocking this channel in your body. The sealed cauldron, the pelvic bowl, the base of the body. This is where the primary creative force is stored. And in the vast majority of modern humans, this region is chronically contracted, frozen. Because the pelvis is where the body stores what it could not process. Fear that was never expressed. Shame that was trained into the nervous system from childhood. The 1,000 small ways the body learned that its primary creative force was dangerous, wrong, too much, not welcome. The fascia, the connective tissue web that runs through every layer of the pelvic structure, hardens around these stored experiences. It creates adhesions, dead zones where no light, no blood, no creative signal can pass. Imagine a skin-tight, invisible suit worn beneath your skin, one that wraps around every single muscle, organ, and bone in your body. When that suit is supple and slides freely, energy flows. When it becomes stiff and tight, from stress, from unprocessed emotion, from years of held tension, it is like trying to run in a suit of armor. Everything is constricted.
nothing flows. When the pelvic floor is chronically contracted, the vagus nerve, which runs directly through this region, receives a continuous signal: danger, survival mode. The body responds by suppressing the immune system's regenerative function, diverting glucose to stress hormones rather than creative neurochemicals, and shutting down the prefrontal cortex, the creative brain.
A body in survival mode cannot access the frequency of abundance. When the pelvis releases, the energy rises, up the spine, through the solar plexus, through the heart center, to the brain. This is the sublimatio stage of the great work. The dense, raw, creative force at the base becomes increasingly refined as it ascends. What arrives at the brain is the refined essence of creative power. The elixir the ancient texts describe. And the person who carries this unobstructed ascent experiences something that others recognize immediately, even if they cannot name it. Presence. Magnetism. The quality of someone whose system is running at full capacity. This is the frequency that attracts resources, opportunities, the right people. It is not luck, it is coherence. Let me tell you what actually happens in the brain when the channel opens. At the geometric center of the brain sits the pineal gland, the size of a grain of rice. The ancient Egyptians depicted it as the eye of Horus. The Hindus called it the seat of the soul. It is the only structure in the body that produces DMT, dimethyltryptamine, the most potent psychedelic compound known to science. Produced during deep meditation at the threshold of sleep and during states of profound creative activation. DMT appears to function as a biological receiver, granting access to patterns of information that the ordinary stressed brain filters out completely. Here is the critical connection. When cortisol is chronically elevated, the pineal gland calcifies, literally. By the age of 17, most people in industrialized societies already show measurable calcification. By middle age, in many people, the gland is almost entirely sealed. The gland of genius, closed by chronic stress, not by age. When the channel opens, the calcification begins to reverse. The brain enters coherent gamma wave production. Connections form between regions that were previously isolated. Insight arrives as sudden recognition, the feeling that you already knew something and simply became able to see it. The frequency of wealth is not about attracting things from outside. It is about expanding the resolution of your perception until you can see what was always present. Now, the neuroscience of how to get there. Your nervous system has two primary operating modes: sympathetic activation, survival mode. The adrenal glands flood the body with cortisol. Every system reconfigures around one priority: survive this moment. Genius engineering for acute threats. But modern humans never return to baseline. Chronic cortisol suppresses autophagy, the Nobel Prize-winning mechanism by which cells clean and restore themselves. It destroys collagen synthesis. It disrupts the biophoton field, the coherent light emission healthy cells use to communicate. It suppresses immune surveillance. Chronic stress physically dismantles the body's self-healing architecture at the cellular level. The second mode, parasympathetic activation. The vagus nerve. Think of the vagus nerve as the main communication cable between your brain and every organ in your body. When you are in chronic stress, that cable is full of interference. One long, slow exhale is like a technician arriving and clearing the line. Suddenly, the brain can get through, and the first message it sends is, everything is okay. Begin repairs. When the vagus nerve activates,
Autophagy turns back on. Collagen synthesis resumes. Biophoton coherence restores. The prefrontal cortex comes back online. This is the healing mode, the creation mode, the abundance mode. And it can be directly activated through breath, through specific movement, through the release of the pelvic holding patterns we discussed. The initiates were not performing rituals. They were running the most sophisticated biological optimization protocol ever developed. And the fascia connects everything.
It runs from the soles of the feet to the crown of the head in one continuous, unbroken web. It is the body's fiber optic network, conducting electrical signals, participating in biophoton transmission, carrying the quality of the body's state to every region simultaneously. When fascia is healthy, force flows. When it is adhered, dead zones form. And where do fascial adhesions concentrate most heavily? In the pelvis. The body's wealth frequency system and its healing frequency system are not separate. They are the same system, and they both begin in the same place. There is something your doctor will not tell you. You are blocked partly because of what happened to the people who came before you. Think of your DNA as an enormous library, thousands of books, each containing different instructions for how your body operates. Epigenetics is the system that decides which books get opened and which ones gather dust. And here's the part that changes everything. Your emotional state, your stress levels, your inner environment. These are the hands that reach for the books. Your state today is literally selecting which genetic instructions your body follows. Traumatic experiences leave chemical marks on the DNA of those who survive them. And those marks are inherited, not as memories, as biological default settings. Your great-grandmother survived famine. Her cells developed a program: hoard, conserve, operate in scarcity mode at all times. And that program was passed to you. Your ancestors survived war. Their nervous systems developed hypervigilance, scan for threat continuously, never fully relax. And you carry this as your baseline state, even though you live in safety they could never have imagined. The alchemists called this the lead of the ancestors, the heaviest form of lead, the one you cannot see or touch, but that pulls you downward with more force than any external circumstance. Epigenetic chemical tags literally seal sections of your DNA, preventing the expression of your full biological potential. They are seals on your genetic code, left by lives you never lived. And they can be removed. But here is what most people misunderstand about how they are removed. They cannot be removed by effort. They cannot be removed by intention alone. They cannot be removed by understanding them intellectually, even though that understanding is the first step. They are removed by entering a specific state. The alchemists called it caput mortuum, the dead head. The moment when everything old has burned completely away, when the vessel is empty of everything that was accumulated, when there is nothing left in the crucible but pure potential. Modern neuroscience calls it default mode network deactivation combined with deep parasympathetic coherence. I call it 0 point. And it is the most important thing I will teach you today. Not the movement, not the breath. Those are the keys. 0 point is the door. Here is what happens in the body when you enter it. The amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, the same structure that has been running your ancestors' survival programs, goes quiet, not suppressed, not drugged into silence, genuinely quiet, for perhaps the first time in years.
The prefrontal cortex, which was offline during chronic stress, comes fully alive. Not just partially online, fully. The seat of insight, long-range thinking, the recognition of pattern across vast domains, it illuminates. The default mode network, the system responsible for self-referential thought, for the continuous mental narrative of I am this, I have this problem, I am behind, I need more, I am not enough, deactivates. The story stops. And in the silence of the stopped story, something extraordinary happens. The cells receive a signal they may not have received in decades. No past, no future, no inherited schedule, no borrowed urgency.
No ancestral emergency. Just now. And now, always, is the raw material of creation. Your cells do not age in calendar years. They age in signals received. When the signal is constant emergency, constant depletion, constant inherited fear, the cells respond as if that is the permanent condition. They shift their resources away from regeneration and toward management of threat. But when the signal is 0 point, when the nervous system transmits pure present moment safety to every cell simultaneously, the cells do something remarkable. They recalibrate, not metaphorically, biochemically. The methylation patterns on the DNA begin to shift. The histone modifications that were suppressing the expression of vitality, creativity, and regenerative capacity begin to release. This is what the caput mortuum stage was describing. The moment after the old has been completely burned before the new has formed. The sacred pause, the biological reset. The alchemists who spent lifetimes perfecting this understood something that the modern world has nearly lost entirely. The most productive state is not activation. It is not drive. It is not intensity. It is the perfect, complete, total rest of a system that knows, not believes, not hopes, but knows that it is safe. From that knowing, the great work proceeds naturally, without force, without strain, like a seed that does not struggle to become a tree. It simply expresses what was always encoded in it once the conditions are right. You are the seed. 0 point is the condition. Now, here is the one thing most people do not understand about how to enter it. You cannot reach for it. 0 point is not achieved. It is fallen into. Think about the moment just before sleep. You cannot force sleep. The harder you try, the more awake you become. Sleep arrives only when you stop trying, when you release the effort of staying awake without replacing it with the effort of sleeping. The same principle governs 0 point. You do not enter it by concentrating harder. You enter it by releasing the grip. The grip on the past. The story of what happened, what was done to you, what you inherited, what went wrong. You release the grip not by forgetting it, but by letting it exist without requiring your attention right now. The grip on the future. The anticipation of what might go wrong, what you still need, what might be taken. You release that grip not by pretending the future doesn't exist, but by recognizing that right now, in this precise moment, you do not need to manage it. What remains when both grips are released is not emptiness, it is fullness. The fullness of a present moment that has never happened before and will never happen again. Entirely new, entirely alive, entirely yours. This is 0 point. And from this place, from this precise biological and spiritual location, the inherited seals dissolve. Not because you are forcing them to dissolve, but because they were maintained by the same tension you just released. They needed your holding to hold. When you stop holding, they stop holding. The great work is not the transformation of metal. It is the removal of inherited seals from the genetic code of a living human being. And it happens not through effort, but through the most profound relaxation you have ever allowed yourself. But before we go to the practices, I need to tell you why they don't work for most people who try them. Your vessel has leaks, specific biological leaks, where the primary creative force is continuously drained before it can build, ascend, and reach the brain. Until they are closed, the practices will produce results that last hours, not months. The first and most significant, pornography. Pornography activates the same neural circuits as primary creative force generation. It produces the largest dopamine response most people's brains ever experience, by triggering the biological release mechanism without the biological buildup.
The Prima Materia is discharged into a screen. Nothing was created. Nothing ascended. Research shows the same pattern as drug addiction. Receptor downregulation, tolerance buildup, dramatic reduction in motivation for real-world creative and financial goals. This is the sealed cauldron being emptied through the wrong valve. Daily. Every tradition that worked with sexual energy had the same foundational practice: strategic conservation. The deliberate decision to stop the leak so the vessel can fill. The second leak: chronic passive content consumption. Think of it like endless food tasting. You sample bite after bite. Each one gives a tiny hit of pleasure, but you never eat a meal. You spend all your appetite on micro-tastes, and by the time your real creative work, your real goals, your real wealth is on the table, you have no hunger left. Every hour of passive consumption trains the dopaminergic pathways toward reception rather than generation. The body that spends 3 hours a day consuming content has trained its primary motivation system to be passive. Passive nervous systems cannot generate the frequency of abundance. The third leak: chronic anxiety about what others think. Social comparison, status monitoring. This keeps cortisol elevated, subtly, continuously, enough to suppress the ascending channel, keep the pineal gland partially calcified, prevent the full parasympathetic activation that creation mode requires. I'm not asking you to solve these leaks before you come to the practices. I'm asking you to see them, because the seeing itself is the beginning of the seal. What is named is tamed. What is seen can be changed. What remains invisible continues to drain the vessel in darkness. You have just named your leaks. The vessel can now begin to fill. Stand up now. These are not exercises. They are alchemical protocols tested across thousands of years and confirmed by modern neuroscience. 3 techniques in sequence.
Together they form the complete circuit.
Unlock the sealed cauldron. Elevate the primary creative force. Enter the 0 point. Feet shoulder-width apart, knees soft, arms relaxed at your sides. Weight equal on both feet. You are going to move your hips in a horizontal figure of 8. Here is the exact movement. The right hip moves to the right and slightly forward. Then the left hip moves to the left and slightly forward. The pelvis traces a lying infinity symbol in the air, not sharp, not forced, as if your hips are floating in warm water, slow, fluid, almost lazy. The pelvic fascia, which has been holding the compressed creative force for years, possibly for generations, responds to wave motion, not to force, not to stretching, to the specific frequency of the wave. Because wave is the language of water, and your body is 75% water. With each figure of 8, imagine something dense, gray, heavy at the base of your body, beginning to soften, to liquefy, to become available for movement. This is nigredo, the first alchemical stage. Everything old must liquefy before it can become something new. 36 repetitions, slow, continuous. Now add the breath. When the hips move forward, inhale slowly through the nose. When the hips move back, long, complete exhale through the mouth. Feel the warmth that begins to rise from the base of your body. That is the first fire of the Athanor, the alchemical furnace of your body, igniting after a long sleep. Stop the hip movement. Stand with feet parallel, firmly on the ground, knees slightly bent. Direct your attention to the soles of your feet. Feel the floor beneath you, its solidity, its temperature, every millimeter of contact. On a slow inhale, begin to draw the sensation of warmth upward through your body, not with muscle, with attention, like a column of warm water rising through a glass tube. Feet, ankles, knees, hips, the base of the spine, the belly, the solar plexus, the chest,
the shoulders, the throat, the crown of the head. The traditions called this the spinal elevator, the sublimatio, the transformation of the dense creative force at the base into the refined frequency of genius at the crown. 5 ascents, bottom to top, slow. After each ascent, hold the breath at the crown for 5 seconds. In that pause, 0 point. The cell loses its sense of time. Epigenetic marks begin to loosen. After the 5th ascent, stand still. Feel the entire body as one unified warm field. This is albedo, the tissue becoming transparent to its own light. Stand straight, hands resting over the heart or at your sides, eyes closed. Inhale through the nose, slowly, 4 counts. Hold, 2 counts. Exhale through the mouth, slowly, 8 counts. Complete. Total. Pause after the exhale, 2 to 3 counts. Simply be in the emptiness. This ratio, with the exhale twice as long as the inhale, is the most precise known method for activating the vagus nerve. The pause after the exhale is the 0 point of the breath cycle. No inhale from the past, no exhale into the future. Only the luminous present. In this pause, cortisol production stops. The vagus nerve sends simultaneous restoration signals to every organ. Biophoton coherence begins to restore. The prefrontal cortex comes back online. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Empty, 2, 3. Again. Again. Feel what has changed. The shoulders have dropped. The jaw has released. Something in the chest has opened. This is the vagus nerve receiving the signal it has been waiting for. Now, with eyes still closed, direct your attention inward, to what is behind the muscles, behind the organs, to the cells. Inside, you are billions of living beings, each cell a separate life, each one waiting for a signal. And now, without words, without command, through pure quality of being, transmit a state to every cell. The state of absolute safety, where the war is over, where there is infinite time to build, where scarcity does not exist. Your cells are not reading your thoughts. They are reading the quality of the biochemical environment your consciousness creates. Show them peace. Slowly begin to expand your sense of the body beyond the skin. A few centimeters, half a meter, further. This is your biophoton field organizing into coherent, ordered concentric waves. The frequency of wealth is not external. It is the frequency of a coherent biological system operating at full creative capacity. You just activated it. 5 minutes of silence. Only breath. Only this state. Right now, before you scroll, before you click away, stay here for 60 seconds. Something in this transmission reached you. I know it did. You don't watch 40 minutes of something unless it is touching something real. Maybe it was the moment you understood that what you carry in your body might not even be yours, that your grandmother's fear, your grandfather's scarcity, lives in your cells right now as a biological instruction. Maybe it was the 3 ways the primary creative force is used and the quiet recognition of which one has been yours. Maybe it was something much simpler, a feeling of recognition, the sense that someone finally described something you have always known but never had words for. Whatever it was, write it below, right now, all of it, because here is the truth. Someone is going to read your comment today. Someone who is exactly where you were at the beginning of this video. And your words are going to be the thing that finally makes it click for them. And for you, writing it is not optional if you want the shift to last. The experience without the word fades within hours. The experience with the word becomes a new foundation. You felt something. Name it. I read every single comment, every one. Come back, slowly. Feel the soles of your feet on the ground. 3 deep breaths. What just happened in your body was not a relaxation exercise. It was an initiation. Lead that has passed through the fire of the Athanor cannot return to its previous form. You have passed through the fire. Something in you has shifted, biochemically, neurologically, at the level of the most precise epigenetic marks. Your nervous system has recorded a new experience, the experience of the body in creation mode, not survival mode. It now knows this is possible. That knowledge cannot be taken from you. History does not divide at moments of external change. It divides at moments when enough individual biological systems shift their operating frequency simultaneously. The Uranian cycle is not creating a new world. It is creating conditions in which those whose systems are coherent, whose antennas are tuned, will receive a new signal that others simply cannot access. Your body is your only asset in the transition. Not your savings, not your contacts, not your strategy. Your nervous system, your epigenetic expression, your biophoton coherence. The body is the antenna. The antenna must be prepared. The window is open. Write in the comments. Not later, now, while the state is alive in your body. Write what you felt, what opened, what became clear for the first time. Or write the declaration. My system is ready for the new frequency. Your word is the seal. Allow your power to manifest in this world. I will read every message. If you are ready to go deeper, subscribe, because this was only the first transmission. There are significantly more doors ahead.